Legends, in today's video, we have quite a lot to unpack. Bitcoin just got rejected at the crucial $100,000 level. We got the unemployment data that just came out, and it seems like the trade war is still ongoing, causing Bitcoin to see further downside. In the meantime, I've been able to identify a pretty solid way to make some nice profits as the market chops around. So make sure you watch the entire video to find out what my current strategy is. And as always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Let's jump right into the video. As we could see, we got rejected at this crucial $100,000 level. Now, we talked about this for quite some time here. I mentioned on Twitter and in my videos 3 days ago that if Bitcoin were to fail to break above 100K and it starts to act as resistance, it wouldn't be pretty. We previously held it as support for quite a while, for a few days here, and now we have broken below that key level and it's now acting as resistance. This is why I've been saying that I've been favoring shorts in the market until Bitcoin can reclaim this historic 100K level. Now, from a more medium-term perspective, we're still well within this range, so there's not that much to be worrying about. But if Bitcoin can't reclaim 100K, I'm still favoring that we could see lower levels. Now, the annoying part about that is that whenever I talk about anything bearish on the channel, I look at the analytics guys and I can see that you guys are just leaving some thumbs down whenever I talk about altcoins going down or Bitcoin going down for that matter. But I'm just calling things as I see it. And whenever I see opportunities in the market, I just make sure to share it with you. I don't make the rules. No one can predict exactly where the market is headed. But as I said, 100K is that historic milestone. We see a lot of volume there as well. And if we can't break above it and it starts acting as resistance over and over and over again, it won't be looking good for Bitcoin, as I mentioned on this tweet. Now, I just gave you guys another little reminder on my Twitter, so make sure that you go ahead and follow that Twitter because that's where I'm leaving a lot of the alpha as I find it, rather than making these long format videos. So what caused this fake out to try to get above $100,000? Well, first of all, this evening we got the unemployment rate data and it actually came in lower than expected. Now, there are a lot of implications for this. One of the things immediately is that we saw Bitcoin pump. Now, if I go on a smaller time frame here, we can see exactly what I'm talking about. We pumped precisely to $100,000 and then came crashing down. So when the unemployment rate is low, initially that is quite bullish for risk on assets because it's telling us that there's basically nothing to worry about. But because the unemployment rate is low, that also reduces the likelihood that we are to transition into quantitative easing, and quantitative tightening will likely resume. If there's nothing wrong in the labor market, why would the Fed stop quantitative tightening? Everything looks good, risk assets keep on going higher. Now, the issue here is that if the labor market looks fine, there's no reason for the Fed to end quantitative tightening as they continue to try to get inflation under control. And this is not good for our altcoin bags because it means that we won't go into quantitative easing, the money printer will not be turning on anytime soon if we keep on getting figures like this in terms of the labor market. So honestly, to make it simple, I'm currently only looking at Bitcoin and trying to look at Ethereum as it starts to slowly grind up on its Bitcoin pair. But we know that in the previous market cycles, Ethereum bottomed against Bitcoin when quantitative tightening was over. Although, as I've been sharing on the channel, I've been continuously dollar cost averaging into Ethereum with some of my Bitcoin position because I think that it will outperform Bitcoin by the end of 2025. Okay, and you might ask, why do we get rejected at the 100K range? Well, we got the initial pump thanks to the labor market data, but news came out that apparently Trump told Republican lawmakers that he plans to issue reciprocal tariffs as early as Friday. And naturally, with this trade war stuff going on, we've just been dumping every time the word tariffs get mentioned. There's been so much manipulation in the market. Every time any country were to say, hey, we're going to impose tariffs on X country, the market tanked. And every time it seemed like they were coming to a resolution, the market would spike back up. But until then, the main level that I'm looking at is the 100K level. Now, we could have predicted this over time because 106K kept on acting as resistance. If you've been following the channel for a while, you know that we've been talking about 106K and we needed to break above it and hold it as support before Bitcoin can put in a new all-time high. We made almost 10 attempts at this point, and so we broke right back down, holding 100K as support, but now it is in fact resistance. And I was talking about this with someone on Twitter today, actually, talking about the difference between traders and spot holders. He was telling me there's nothing to worry about. Bitcoin is still between 90 and 100K. Who really cares at this point? And that's the exact mentality that you need if you're a spot holder. I am firmly a long-term believer in Bitcoin. I really think it's the gold of the 21st century. I've been in this industry since 2018. And so because of that, I've been aggressively accumulating Bitcoin over the years. And so that guy's right. If you have conviction in Bitcoin like I do, where we could potentially see even a $1 million Bitcoin in maybe a decade or two from now, then yeah, it's perfectly fine if you continue to accumulate Bitcoin in the long term, especially when we get these dips. But I also like trading the markets and try to make those profits so I can go and buy some more Bitcoin with those profits. Now, I do all of my trading on Weeks, which is the first link in my description. If you click it, it'll bring you to this landing page where you can earn a $20,000 bonus with my link, and you also get 50% off all of your trading fees. It's the first link in my description. Now, back to the charts. I'm still trading this. If Bitcoin is below $100,000, I am favoring shorts. But I've also entered some pretty cheeky positions because I've started to see a pattern emerging with when Binance lists a coin on perpetuals. Let me get into it. So late last night, I posted this on my Twitter. We essentially made $3,000 within the span of 2 hours, shorting the new layer 1 that just came out called Bera. Now, the reason why I entered this short is because it got listed on Binance Perps. And what we've seen historically, let me just find the original tweet. Usually when Binance lists a coin on Perps right at launch, it tends to tank because there is so much shorting pressure from insiders. And so this is typically what we end up seeing. Now, here's the catch. We can see here a list of new major cryptocurrencies that are supposed to come out between February and April. Now, this is a pretty significant list, but I will be keeping my eyes on all of these tokens because if any of these get a perpetual listing on Binance at the token generation event, I am going to be shorting the hell out of these tokens because we've seen the game of the insiders. It's happened over and over and over again. And in my opinion, it's almost like an unlimited money glitch. So to trade this with leverage, as I will be doing, you need to make sure that you get onboarded to a solid exchange that has these tokens before they are listed on Binance Perps. Because ideally, as the news comes out, you're already ready to short the token. Now, one of the best exchanges that lists all these tokens before they typically get listed on Binance is, as I mentioned, Weeks. If you want to sign up and get a great bonus along with that sign up, click the first link in my description. It'll bring you to this landing page that I just showed you once again. It's one of the best exchanges to do exactly what I just talked about. I'm going to be on Weeks just shorting all of these tokens only if they get listed on Binance perpetuals. We've seen this cycle play over and over again. Insiders short as soon as the coins get listed on Binance, and it's a great profit-making opportunity. As I talked about on my Twitter, we basically made $3,000 in the span of 2 hours. Pretty good ROI if you ask me. But back to Bitcoin. I know you guys don't like it when I'm bearish, but I just have to share my honest opinion. If we can't break back above $100,000 and hold it as support, I'd still be favoring shorts on Bitcoin. We need to reclaim this level and try to make a new attempt at breaking the 106K level to put in a new all-time high. Now, overall, if you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, do I think that Bitcoin will go much higher this year? Yes, I do. I still think that the bull market is fully intact. We're just seeing a little bit of shakeouts at the moment, and this is perfectly normal. We have to remember, if we really zoom out and look at the bigger picture here, we essentially went straight up from 70K all the way up to $108,000 before we got some kind of correction on Bitcoin. It makes perfect sense that we're consolidating here, and as I've been talking about on the channel, it's possible that we even go below 90K to consolidate. Currently, if we hold this range, everything looks fine, but we just need to break above that 100K level in the interim. And naturally, you can trade this price action on Weeks as well. Now, I'll wrap up this video with a very important chart that really puts things in perspective. This is the net flow for Bitcoin on exchanges, and we can see that basically we're at all-time lows, meaning that with this increased scarcity, there should be a supply squeeze at some point in time. Guys, keep accumulating Bitcoin. If you've been in this industry as long as I've been, you know that the name of the game is to just keep on accumulating Bitcoin. Of course, in the meantime, I'm always trying to make profits outside of just stacking Bitcoin for the long term, but you have to remember the end game, and that is to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible. Now, the way that we make profit is we trade this price range that Bitcoin has been bouncing around in, and we try to identify pockets in the industry where we can really find our edge. And honestly, I think that this is a solid edge. I've shorted a few tokens tokens since they got listed on Binance Perps on the day of the launch of that given token, and it's always worked out for me. Now, this isn't necessarily a guarantee, because one thing that you do need to be aware of here is that I'm grateful that I also got out of these positions, because as I was shorting the crap out of Beara, we also saw that the Coinbase roadmap account, which is a very important account that you should be following on Twitter, announced all of a sudden that they added Beara to the platform. And of course, once this got announced, we saw Beara just start going up and up and up and up. So I closed my positions immediately, and that could have turned into a bad trade if I wasn't quick enough. So you need to be on the lookout for these kinds of things. First of all, follow this account. Very useful, because typically when we see assets getting added to the Coinbase roadmap and then they get listed to the actual platform, in both instances, the price of that asset pumps. But interestingly enough, on the flip side, when Binance Perps goes ahead and lists a token on launch day, it tends to just tank, because a lot of insiders are shorting the price. If you want to take advantage of these opportunities, as I mentioned, make sure to get on an exchange where these tokens are available before they actually get launched on major centralized exchanges like Binance and Coinbase. You'll want to join Weeks, first link in my description down below, one of the best exchanges. I use it for basically all of my trades. And that sums up today's video. Bitcoin is still bouncing around below the 100K level, which, as I've been discussing, is a very crucial level for us to break above and hold as support if we are to see further momentum to the upside. The unemployment data came out a little bit better than expected. Bitcoin pumped up to 100K, and then we got this tariff nonsense once again. In the meantime, I've identified a little edge in the market where we can outperform, and that is to short any kind of new tokens that get listed on Binance Perps on launch day. And that sums up today's video. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.